Today on Locked On Canadiens, Michael Hage says he's going back to school. The Canadiens say maybe he's not. What's going on here?
You are Locked On Canadiens, your daily podcast on the Montreal Canadiens. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Locked On Canadiens. My name is Ian Boisvert, also known as That Maybe It's Ian, and I'm joined, as I always am, by Laura Saba, also known as the Active Stick. Laura, as we're recording this day before the draft, as everybody's listening to this, it's draft day. Welcome. I hope you guys are enjoying. I hope something fun is happening while you're listening to this, because right now it's a little quiet in the National Hockey League. The Canadiens made a trade. We'll touch on that briefly, but Jeff Gorton spoke. It seems like maybe the Canadiens and a player are in a disagreement about where this player is going to play. Very odd press conference from Jeff Gorton. How are we doing today, Laura? Are you excited for the draft? You ready to get going?
Yeah, I'm just surprised at how quiet it's been today after a couple of days of a lot of activity across the NHL. Also, very surprised at the Montreal Canadiens trade. I know we'll touch on that a little bit later. But I'm also excited. We've got a couple of really fun questions in the mailbag today.
Yep. It's Friday, draft day, mailbag. The draft is usually on a Friday, so that always works out. All right, let's talk about Jeff Gorton first. He met with the media, as he often does on draft day or the day before the draft, to sort of just give everybody the lay of the land, what the Canadiens are not what they're working on, but it's just sort of the general philosophy behind what's happening. I find it funny because I believe last year or a year before that, Gorton went out there and basically said, like, the reason I'm out here and not Kent is he's got a terrible poker face. The Canadiens are cooking stuff, and they don't want Kent to give it away.
The reason that Kent is not out there is because he has 5 phones attached to his head right now.
He's like when Pokemon Go came out and everybody was driving around in like bikes with 1,000 phones on the front of them. That's what Kent Hughes is doing. He was asked. Jeff Gorton, I think the most interesting part of this was he was asked about Michael Hage. He said he was asked if Hage would return to Michigan. It's a bit of a lengthy quote, but I think it's important to get the full context here. I'll go through it. He said, Gorton said, "That's a good question. We've talked to Michael a lot. He's told us he would like to stay in school, and we've kind of left it there. We also told him to take some time. It's a long summer. Things happen. Maybe we add people. Maybe we don't. If there's something that you see that changes your mind, maybe something happens at Michigan that changes your mind. So we've left it open. We'll continue to talk to Michael. We're going to respect his opinion. And if he wants to change that, we'll be open to that discussion. If he wants to stay there, we'll support him with that." This reads like the Canadiens want Michael Hage in Montreal, does it not? It seems like this is the player driving this decision, and the Canadiens, on the other hand, would rather have this player in front of them.
I absolutely agree. I think from the moment that Michael Hage announced that he wanted to return to Michigan for another year, I think that was very evidently a player-driven decision. I don't know if the Canadiens' long run changed his mind. I also don't see the Montreal Canadiens essentially bullying him, but I see them trying to persuade him. I think their preference is to see what they have at the NHL level. I think their preference is for him to integrate into this lineup right away. And I also think their preference is for them to know whether or not they still need to shop for a second line center next offseason, and unless they find a game breaker this time around. So I really do think that they're going to try and convince him. And I don't know how successful they're going to be, but I like that they say they're going to support him either way. But what ends up happening, I think, is that if the Montreal Canadiens are not going to wait around, if they find a second line center and he's part of the package, he's going.
Yeah, I kind of get that impression too.
Yeah.
Not that Gorton has explicitly said that here, but that's
what I would do.
Right, like this asset needs to bear fruit for them in some way. Not that they've been waiting on him forever. It's not like he was drafted the same year Slafkovsky was. Right, like this is a recent pick for Montreal. This is not something that they need to have going immediately. But it's just this is what's fascinating about the state of the Canadiens. Right, they're at a place where you want those pieces to start contributing to your NHL success sooner rather than later, and you can't really afford to wait too long to figure out if they're going to be able to contribute to your National Hockey League success. So it's sort of a crap or get off the pot moment for a lot of this core, for a lot of this group. where they some of the younger pieces, they're going to start selling on them just because how much longer are we going to be able to wait? Yeah, sure. Michael Hage might turn into a player who can be the second line center, but if we can trade him for a second line center now, who's not, 38 years old, that's probably a move the Canadiens would be willing to make.
Yeah, I think so.
That being said, they're not firing this dude out of a cannon. This is probably their top prospect in their system.
Yes, I think objectively so.
Some people might argue Żurawski. It's close. Maybe Reinbacher. I think they're kind of all in that same conversation.
But remember what you always say: who has the most value? It's always the center.
It's always the center or a 6'4" right shot defenseman. Either. So I think I'm fascinated to see how this plays out. The fact that Gorton didn't come out and say no, he's going to go back to school.
Yeah,
that is telling to me. That just the fact that the answer wasn't no, he's going.
Yeah,
means that the Canadiens are, like you said, probably trying to persuade him into coming to Montreal sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I think the tough thing is because he's in the NCAA, he's not coming for the development camp, right? He can't, can he? Or is it he can't go to the prospect showcase?
Can't go to the prospect showcase. If he goes to development camp, he has to pay his own way.
Right.
That's how these players get there. Because like Lane Hudson was at development camp.
I just remembered that, right? Like he was playing with Reinbacher and everybody got so excited.
Yep. Yeah. So they're able to. It's just it's more complicated. Hey, before we move on to the second segment here, there was a trade. We have a trade to announce. Montreal trades Luke Tuch. So both Tuch brothers getting traded within a few days of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Montreal trades Luke Tuch to the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for center Hunter McKown, 23-year-old, born in San Jose, California. He's played the last 3 seasons with the Cleveland Monsters of the American Hockey League. In the NHL, he's played 12 games. He's a right shot centerman, 55% on the draws in the NHL level. Curious to see what those would be in the AHL. I don't know if the AHL tracks those stats, but not an offensive producer by any means in the AHL. 25 points this year, 31 last year, 24 the year before. What are your thoughts on this? Like, is this just 2 guys getting swapped for the sake of 2 guys getting swapped?
That's what it feels like.
They do that. Yeah,
it feels like that. I wonder if it's like a gesture of goodwill, like to the Columbus Blue Jackets, if they're having other types of conversations. It seems like, like for me, Luke Tuch spent a lot of time in Montreal without cracking the NHL lineup.
Yeah.
I think that was the writing on the wall. So rather than, allow him, not qualifying him and allowing him to walk, you get something back for him. And you get somebody who can play on your AHL roster. I don't think this is an NHL related move. You said something interesting. You said, does this make Owen Beck more tradable? I mean, it makes him also tradable, right? Hunter McKown can also be traded.
Yeah, I wonder, like, because you look at the profile, it's a right shot centerman about 6 feet tall who wins draws, is more of a defensively minded centerman. So if they were to play in the NHL, it would be in the bottom 6. Did I just describe Hunter McKown or did I just describe Owen Beck? Like exactly. They're the same. They're kind of the same guy. Owen Beck's 2 years younger, right? Like that's the main difference. But I wonder, like, if you're acquiring McCowan as Beck insurance, because maybe Beck gets included in some kind of deal. Because Owen Beck is being held out of the NHL not by Phil Deneau, but by Jake Evans, right shot centerman, right? Like if as long as there's a right shot bottom 6 center in front of him, he's not going to be able to crack the NHL roster. And Hunter McKown projects probably more as just an AHL centerman. And you'd rather have that, keeping things steady in Laval than, if you could trade a guy like Beck who projects as potentially something more than that.
Yes.
So I wonder about that a little bit. Just trying to figure out why they would make a move like this. Obviously, maybe it's a precursor for something. Maybe it's not. Both are restricted free agents. Maybe both of those. Maybe Columbus thinks they have a better chance of negotiating with Luke Tuch than they did with McCown, and maybe Montreal with McCown more than they did with Tuch. So interested to see where that plays out, but certainly not the splash we were expecting at this point from Montreal. No. Any final thoughts on this deal before we move on?
Not really. Not really. It was a deal. It happened. It's a thing that happened today.
Finally, everybody can relax. Kent Hughes is awake. He is alert. He is showing signs of life. All right, we'll leave that there. When we come back, We'll dive into the mailbag. It's draft day. We've got draft-related questions. We have trade-related questions. We'll get into all of them when we come back on Locked On Canadiens. If you've got that sweet tooth like I do, you know how tough it is to find that perfect treat without all the sugar. That's why the Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shot brings that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots treat your taste buds to an explosion of fruity flavor with a tasty caffeine kick. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. For me, I love sweets. I need to cut back on them. I'm on the other side of 30. I know that's the case. As this is zero sugar sweet. That's sweet tooth approved. I can have this and sort of it's a guilty free pleasure that I get to enjoy. I like how convenient it is too. It's just a small portable shot I can grab whenever I need a little pick me up. It's become my go-to when I need something sweet without going overboard, wherever I need it. Whether I'm at my desk at work, I'm in the car, I'm at home. It's a perfect way to get that boost. So get candy flavored chaos with Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots, available online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. There are more live events than ever we're seeing right now. Games, concerts, comedy shows, festival. The hard part usually isn't deciding what you want to attend. It's actually getting the tickets. Between long wait times, confusing checkout processes, and surprise fees, buying tickets can sometimes feel harder than it should. That's why so many fans like us are turning to Game Time. The app's built to make buying tickets simple with upfront pricing, seat views before you buy, and exclusive savings opportunities that help you get to the events you want without the usual hassle. Look, for me and Laura, we go to a lot of games together. We use Game Time every time. It's the perfect way for us to do it. We can share the view from our seat right up front. We get the one-in ticket, the all-in ticket price. I can send to Laura and say, this is how much you owe me for your ticket. Let's go have a good time. It's perfect for us to do that. I'll be using it this summer. I want to get to some baseball games. Head to some of the most beautiful ballparks across North America. It'd be a lot of fun. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets to every type of event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. All right, welcome back. Before we move on, Everyday Club, 7-day free trial, lockedoncanadiens.supercast.com. Go check it out. You get a free trial to the Everyday Club, which gives you ad-free episodes of the show, plus access to a Discord server where you can hang out with Laura and I. As I've mentioned, I have notifications turned on for that. I get a notification every time someone posts in there. So if you want a direct line to me, that's one way to do it. So lockedoncanadiens.supercast.com. Come hang out. All right. We have to head into our mailbag. Laura, do you want to get us started with one of our questions?
Yes, this is an email from listener Zoo in Poland, and I like this because there's a lot of people who started watching the hockey like recently, whether it's because of heated rivalry or because they really like the Habs, or they really got on the the playoff. They got into the playoff atmosphere this year. So there's some questions about the draft. The first one is it possible for a team to end up with no draft picks at all? Maybe because they use them all while making trades. It feels like teams are constantly sending picks back and forth right now. It looks kind of crazy for me. Theoretically, it is entirely possible for you to trade away all of your picks and not have any. You can also lose your picks for violating certain regulations or getting caught doing something nefarious. You can lose. Usually, you lose all of them. You lose like your first rounder or your second rounder or something like that. But it's not very advisable, so teams don't do it. However, a lot of teams that are in win now mode will trade away their first and second rounders. And often like the first place, like the first time they draft will be in the third round, but it's not really done for them to just like get rid of all of their draft picks in one summer.
It has happened before.
I was going to ask if you did the research. You always do the research.
Then this is according to crowdsourced information, so there might be prone to errors, but it sounds realistic. The St. Louis Blues in 1983 made 0 draft picks, and the reason for that was apparently they were going through a move to Saskatoon that ended up being blocked, and it just threw their whole summer into chaos. So it's happened before. It's not ideal. To miss out on an entire draft class means you have nobody in your system at that age group. So it's it can set you back for a long time if you do that.
Yes. That leads me to my next question. Have draft picks become a new kind of currency in the NHL only recently, or has it always been like this in hockey? I would say that it's always been like this, but the value assigned to draft picks has changed over time.
It also depends on the draft, right? Like I think this year, I think a lot of folks are under the belief that this first round is not particularly strong. There's like the top level prospects, and then the bottom kind of falls out. I mean, we all dunked on Chicago for trading the 4th overall pick, but that was the first time that a top 5 pick has been traded since who? Do you remember who that was, Laura? I believe it was Luke Shen.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So but if you look at the draft board now, so many of the picks have moved around, especially the back end of the draft, which is always the case because usually those are teams that went to the playoffs and they've moved those picks for other things. But there's a lot of movement in this year's first round because I think teams aren't particularly enamored with this year's draft class, so they're fine moving that stuff. Yeah. And that leads to that level of currency being devalued in a year like this. I don't know that it's a new phenomenon though.
No.
But it's an interesting question. I'd never thought about it. Like, when did this start happening where we started referring to this stuff as draft capital?
Yeah.
Right. Like that terminology.
As trade currency.
That terminology has only existed for the last, I don't know, decade or so.
Yeah.
But the mentality behind it has, I think, always existed, at least in the cap era, because in the cap era, you have to find, with the salary cap, you've had to find ways to get creative to get an edge over your opponents. I think that's sort of where that comes from.
And Zoo has a last question. Is there a chance that the 28th pick or any of Montreal's picks could be used to look for a second line center, or is it already too late for that? So it's really the value of it. So it's entirely possible and in fact likely that first round pick could be used in a trade for a second line center up until the Montreal Canadiens pick it. At that point, it becomes a Habs prospect that gets traded for a second line center, but it's not going to fetch one alone.
Yeah, and I don't think it's too late. As you're listening to this, the draft is today. And correct me if I'm wrong, maybe my memory's foggy on this, because the Dobson trade happened, but it wasn't formally announced until later that night. But I think those 2 first round picks were traded that morning, were they not? Like, I think so. It's certainly not too late. They can make a move like that. Montreal traded a first round pick on the draft floor in Kent Hughes' first year as general manager.
Right.
So it's certainly not too late. Especially at the rate that the draft moves. Montreal's pick is 28. You have until probably 11 p.m. Eastern to get that thing moved. So I wouldn't worry about timing from that respect. I think we'd be okay.
Yeah. And like, I think that's the thing. Like, as soon as that pick gets made, at that point, the person is a Habs prospect. Mm-hmm. But up until that point, you're trading that pick. And when you do trade it, even if you trade it at the last minute, that other team has the opportunity to make a trade. To make the pick. Right. So it really is like, if another team sees something that they like at number 28 and they want to move up to it and they want to offer the Habs some things for it. But I think for a second line center, there has to be a package, right? And we've seen the caliber of player the Montreal Canadiens are looking for, the age of the player, that the Canadiens are looking for. Like, it's going to cost a lot.
Yeah, it's not going to come cheap. Dave Pagnotta was reporting that the asking price for Vincent Trocheck out of the New York Rangers is a first round pick and another asset or a prospect.
Oh, I did want to talk about that, because for me, it's a do not want.
Really?
Yes.
It's 3 years. He makes less than $6 million.
Yeah, but he's not like, he doesn't move the needle for me. You know what I mean? Like, he's not the guy I'm excited to watch playing alongside Demidov. He's an older guy, so there's like sorry, there's just like wear and tear issues there. And
he's 32. He's 32. It's not like he's,
Okay, I thought he was like 37.
No, 32. He's coming off of a year where he had 53 points in 67 games
on a terrible
Rangers team. Like, I'm if the price is truly at that draft pick and an asset,
okay,
for
but what's
3
the
years,
asset?
you're not married to him.
What's the asset? I mean, it's Chris Drury. So
if it's Kirby Dach,
yeah, okay,
right? Like that
solves a lot of problems.
It really comes down to what is that asset.
Yeah.
And is the Canadiens' first round pick low enough where they don't want something else on top of it, right? Like there's a lot to consider there. But I don't know that he's on my do not want. He's not my favorite option, but like I think he checks a lot of boxes for what the Canadiens are trying to do. He does have a no trade clause. Is he going to waive to come to Montreal? Like I think that's part of the issue.
Yeah.
I think we'd have to see.
Yeah. My only true do not want is Jacob Trouba.
Yeah, and he's not coming to Canada for reasons that have been broadcast since he left Winnipeg. Like it's that I wouldn't worry about.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you don't want Tkachuk brothers on your team, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah.
I don't know that we're gonna have to worry about that.
We're never
problems we don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Is it time to move on to our next segment? There's more mailbag.
We'll move on to our next segment and we'll come back and we'll finish up the mailbag and get you guys ready for draft day. And we'll do that in just a second here on Locked On Canadiens.
This episode is brought to you by Hims. ED is way more common than most guys think, and millions of men deal with it at some point. Hims offers a simple, convenient way to take care of your health by connecting you with licensed healthcare providers online and giving you access to personalized treatment options from the comfort of your own home. There's no awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines. It's just a straightforward process designed to make getting care easier. Taking care of yourself shouldn't feel complicated, and Hims makes the process private and easy to navigate. It's healthcare built around your schedule and your comfort. And when something's already uncomfortable to talk about, the last thing you want is a complicated process. Having the ability to start online from home makes taking that first step feel much more manageable. A lot of people put things off because they don't know where to start. Hims makes it easier with a straightforward online process and discreet delivery, so getting care feels more comfortable. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/lockedonnhl. That's hims.com/lockedonnhl for your free online visit. hims.com/lockedonnhl. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is the generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatris Specialty LLC. Hims is not affiliated with or endorsed by Viatris.
All right. Welcome back. We're closing out the week here. Hey, look, by the way, we're not sure what's going to happen with draft-related episodes. I think if the Canadiens do something bonkers, we can commit to being back on here for a bonus episode over the weekend. Otherwise, we'll sit through the 13 hours of NHL draft coverage and then be back with you on Monday. I think that's a fair, is a fair place for us to be at this point.
If the Canadiens do pick in the first round, there will be a short clip posted. It will be our Locked On NHL prospect experts talking about the pick itself, and there will be an instant reaction from one of us. That's if the Canadiens pick in the first round. Like that's not happening throughout the second round. Again, something bonkers happened, you're getting a bonus episode. All right, let's go to our good friend Adam Yu, also known as Xhekaj Face Punch. Hey guys, this is kind of a repeat question from last year. I previously asked which Xhekaj boy will be the last to suit up for the Canadiens after the other one departs. I believe the answer was a cautious statement that both are here to stay for a while. Has that changed? Will Florian crack the lineup this year? Will Arber be a 6 or 7 or gone? Maybe it's best to ask who will log more minutes for the team this year. I like this question.
Yeah, I almost lean towards Florian being the one who's here longer, just because as a forward, they're not going to have to be as committed to him from we have to feel comfortable playing him on a nightly basis. Fourth line winger, if he plays 11 minutes, cool. Yeah. Like that's really all you're expecting out of him. Whereas like with Arber Xhekaj, if he's a defenseman constantly playing 10 minutes, you're like, okay, this is not a good use of that lineup spot.
Yeah.
So I think the most likely option to me is that Florian sticks around longer. That's where I come from. This year though, like where are you at this year?
This upcoming year, I think Florian cracks the lineup this year.
I think so too. Especially the Canadiens haven't unleashed their preseason schedule yet, but we've gotten a glimpse of it because Ottawa released theirs, and Ottawa plays Montreal 3 times.
Speaking of do not want,
we've made it a character trait on this show to talk about how much we hate that they do this. But all of that said, you can make a pretty big name for yourself in those first few games.
Yeah.
You might need to. The Canadiens might need you to.
Yes.
So I'm cautiously going to say that Florian is going to have a bigger impact this year and potentially beyond. Because I just don't know that I don't think they're any more comfortable now with Arber Xhekaj than they were 2 years ago.
I think that that hasn't really changed. And we'll see what happens, right? When it's time to qualify and then sign, because Arber is an RFA. So we'll see what happens. But I really do think that Florian cracks the lineup. We are seeing the exit of Brendan Gallagher. We may see the exit of lots of people, right? Like Joe Veleno. We might see Kirby Dach gone. We might see a lot of people gone. And that logjam at forward that exists might not be as big of a problem in September. So I really do think that Florian has a shot. And I also think that they'll probably want to see if he can be a good replacement for Josh Anderson, right?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I think he could step in and be a Gallagher type performer, Florian, sure. That is right off the rip. I think that's with obviously more size and more FU to his game.
More size and a little bit more insanity. I feel like Brendan Gallagher, as much as he's always a little ball of hate, he's less insane than Florian.
He's way more calculated.
Yeah.
Way more calculated.
Yeah. This one comes from Spencer. Hello, friends. With the NHL trade frenzy happening ahead of free agency, what are some realistic acquisitions you think the Habs could make that would empty the cupboard, or so to speak, like Hage or Zborowski, but still provide a trade package that would entice other teams? I hear the Blue Jackets aren't shopping him, but Kirill Marchenko is an interesting idea. I know it's been a while, but Blake Coleman out of Calgary as well as a name that has been mentioned in the past. For a 2-seer winger, at least someone in the top 6 that would be an impact player that could help the Habs get slightly better, because they are indeed in win now mode at this point, but I will try to temper my expectations in light of their long run this past postseason. Okay, I'm going to say something about this. I don't think that the Canadiens want to get slightly better. I think if they wanted to get slightly better, there were a lot of options out there and we watched them get traded to other teams, right? I don't think they want to get slightly better. I think the Montreal Canadiens have an idea of what they want, and because it's not available or it's too expensive, they haven't done anything yet. And I think, like, when we're talking about realistic acquisitions, I think we need to look, I think we need to look more bold, right? Like a realistic acquisition was what they just did in the AHL. That's realistic stuff. That's Marc Bergevin stuff, right? Yeah. This front office wants to make a splash, not for the sake of making a splash, not for the sake of making the news, but because they think that they have a team that can compete, and they're watching the rest of the Eastern Conference get better, and they know that they need to fulfill their vision.
I'm telling you, Laura, I'm getting Noah Dobson trade vibes from this Marchenko story.
You think?
That what have we been saying since they spoke to the media at the end of the year?
That we don't know who's available.
We don't know who's available. And with Noah Dobson, we didn't know he was going to be available until a few days before we traded for him.
Yeah.
Marchenko's the same way. And that seems to be coming to a head right on draft day when the Canadiens are poised to do something about it. Now, there's a lot of teams interested in Marchenko in the same way there were a lot of teams interested in Noah Dobson. But Dobson chose Montreal. And you have to, in this case, Montreal would have to convince Marchenko to extend because he's got 1 year left at like 3 point something. And then he's an RFA. So you still control his rights, but you would like to have the confidence that you're signing an extension before he gets here. So I'm getting a lot of vibes from that it's very similar to the Dobson situation from last year.
I really hope you're right.
Dude, I've been saying I'm a Marchenko truther. That guy looks incredible, and he would look awesome. We were texting with podcaster emeritus Scott Matla, and we're basically like, if you have Demidov on one wing and Marchenko on the other, you could put one of the three of us down the middle, and that line will be okay. Yes. Like, it will be fine.
Yeah. But please use Kapanen because I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm tired. You could throw Nui out there. It's fine.
Yeah. Our good friend Boondoggle, who took a little bit of a hiatus but is now back. Not from us, just in general from hockey. Um, Mailbag, do you think a team will try to draft both of the Ruck twins? So the Ruck twins have made no secret of the fact that they want to go to a team together. Um, but I think, they don't hold the cards. It's the NHL teams that hold the cards. So I think if an NHL team will find it not too inconvenient to do it, they'll do it. But if it's too complicated, they won't. Does that make sense?
It does. Can I say something controversial? And I think you know where I'm headed with this because I had a mental breakdown in the middle of one of our chats the other day.
Go on.
I think that this insistence that brothers play together is weird. And here's my reasoning for that. I have a twin brother.
I wanted to ask because I don't have a twin.
I bet a lot of people didn't know that. You want to know why? I haven't made it my entire personality. We have different personalities, my brother and I. We went to different high schools. He went to a tech school. He ended up going to culinary school, and I went to normal school. And we developed different lives. We have a great relationship, my brother and I. This isn't to say like we are estranged. Far from it. He's my twin brother. I was born with my best friend. Like it's how it works. But like this whole like Matthew and Brady thing, they have to play together. The Hughes brothers, just one big shirt with 6 sleeves on the side of it. Like the Ruck twins, like go into your professional careers and learn how to be an individual.
Yeah.
And learn how to be a pro on your own. I really like, not that I'm drafting, but I find that these guys being like in the draft chair being like, we want to play together, put them on my do not draft list. Like I'm like, you guys who's calling the shots here, dudes? Like go learn how to be pros on your own. I find all of this kind of weird. And yes. I know people are going to be like, oh, no, it's cool to play. That's fine. That's your opinion. I have a twin brother. We are 100% genetically similar. I understand what this is like. I find it odd, this insistence that they're like, no, we have to play together before our career's over. Yeah, maybe it'd be cool, but like, don't you think you should like learn how to be an NHLer first before you learn how to do the rest of it?
Well, yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I'm very close with my sister. My sister's my best friend. We live in the same city. If we lived in different cities, I would miss her, but I would be so happy for her, like living her dreams or whatever. And it's the same thing for me, right? I have dreams of living elsewhere, and she would 100% support that. You know why? Because we're not joined at the hip. I'm able to function without my sister, and she's able to function without me. So, you don't have to be twins to have a close relationship, but I also really wanted your perspective on that because I know you are a twin.
I think it's so weird. And
it is weird.
This is an opinion I've held for a while. I don't have it in me to be like, oh, that's a cool story. It's like, okay, whatever.
No, it's honestly like, I just feel like, do you not have other friends? If your brothers are your whole life, do you not have other friends? Like that is a little bit alarming to me. All right. And again, I told you, my sister is my best friend, but I have so many other people in my life. I do not need to be joined at the hip with my sister all the time. Our close personal friend, Jake, asks us a summertime question. How about this scenario? Dobish and Fowler both get injured in the first 5 minutes of the same game. If the Canadiens were forced to play one random position player in goal for the rest of that game, who gives them the best chance to somehow win? Now, there's always as part of the CBA, there's an emergency backup goaltender somewhere, but let's just assume there isn't. Which Montreal Canadien gives them the best chance to win?
It's Lane Hudson. I don't think it's close.
100% Lane Hudson.
That guy would drive the Zamboni if they asked him to. Like he would. I keep saying this. I'm like, you replace all of his sticks with right-handed sticks. I think he figures it out. If I went to the hospital needing an appendectomy and they were like, nobody's here except Lane Hudson, I'd be like, give him the scalpel. I believe. I trust. Like I trust that man implicitly.
He'll watch a YouTube and then do brain surgery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, size isn't there for Hudson, but I think the heart is, and that's all that matters.
We've got a question from Jared, just Malkin ? Nope, Malkin signed with Pittsburgh in May. And then our good friend Acha, did Frodo actually fail?
No.
Okay.
No further explanation to that.
No, the answer is no. Listeners, you tell us what you think. And then finally, I'm saving this one I saved this one for the last because it's my favorite question. My friend TV's Brent. What's your third favorite sandwich?
So
I love this question so much. I hope Scoot is listening all the way to now.
So my top two were easy, and I think that's why this is the perfect question.
It's the best question. Go on.
My top two are simple. My top sandwich is an Italian combo.
Okay.
Love it. Second is a Reuben. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm kind of stuck because I'm like, they all kind of blend into one group at that point. I mean, I'll do a Johnny Gaudreau, just a ham and cheese. Like, I think that's where I'm at that point. I know at that point, like the other two are so decadent. I just need something simple in the 3 spot. So let's go with just a ham and cheese.
So my favorite sandwich is the Cuban or Cubano sandwich from Olive Gourmando. Oliver Gourmando. I think it's Olive Gourmando. It is quite expensive, and people always yell at me because I say it's the best sandwich in Montreal, but it is the best sandwich in Montreal. My second favorite is a smoked meat sandwich, and my third favorite is a ham and cheese, but grilled. It has to be grilled.
Oh, okay. That's funny. We ended up on the same one. I didn't even know that. That's
I think like ham and cheese is such a good, like, it like, you know, like if you don't know what to eat and you have the ingredients, right, it will fill you up. And it's tasty, but it's not like, it doesn't have too much of a personality, so it's not overpowering. It's just like the perfect, like, just average sandwich.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right, that's gonna do it for us today on this episode of Locked On Canadiens. We ended with a banger of a question. I could talk. We could do sandwich talk. That might have to be a summer episode. Just all 3 segments about sandwiches. We thank you for joining us today on this episode of Locked On Canadiens. I hope you're getting ready for the draft and enjoying it safely at your own home, because nobody's allowed to go to these things anymore, apparently. You can follow the show everywhere, posting things at Locked On Canadiens, lockedoncanadiens@gmail.com to send us questions like you all did today. If you want to be heard on the mailbag, send us your questions via email. We'd love to hear them from you. If you want to be part of the Everyday Club, go check out lockedoncanadiens.supercast.com. 7-day free trial if you join there. Remember, ad-free episodes of the show, plus access to a members-only Discord server with me and Laura and everybody else. For everybody watching on video, we'll send you to the first ever 24/7 live Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. For those listening on audio, we'll send you to the Locked On NHL show, where I'm sure they're going to have everything draft-related and everything trade-related over the last few days and into the future. You're not going to want to miss it. For Laura Saba, I am Ian Boisvert. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the other side. Enjoy the draft. Have fun.